I would like to make a motion to concur with staff's recommendation to leave Friar Lake Road open, with the condition that we once again revisit this issue as we have done in the past with members of the community, with members of the university, with our staff, and see if there's anything else that we can do to address. Now, conditions have changed. There's a number of off-campus student beds that were built up on Cherokee Street up in Kennesaw. The college has grown probably by 10,000 students, I would say, since our last visit here, and I think it warrants an examination of those issues to see if we once again can be responsive to the needs of the community and the college. I made the motion, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking for a second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second from Commissioner Ott. Is there any other comment regarding this? Call the question. The motion carries 5-0. We appreciate your support, Director. Chief, thank you. That takes us to tab 6, community development. To conduct a public hearing prior to employing an independent consultant of a consulting firm to develop a joint land use study in partnership with Downstairs Reserve Base, the City of Marietta, the City of Smith. Mr. Johnson, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I am Daniel Johnson with the Cobb County Community Development Agency. I just wanted to request that you open a public hearing in order to hire a consultant for the joint land use study, which is a collaboration between Dobbins Air Reserve Base, the City of Marietta, the City of Smyrna, and Cobb County. As a very brief background, on November 12th of this year, you authorized staff to release a request for proposals to seek private consulting services to fund this particular initiative, to implement this initiative. It is staff's opinion that we anticipate that this contract will be over $100,000. Therefore, per state law, it is one of our requirements to conduct a public hearing before receipt of those requests and a contract is offered.
Thank you, Danny. Is there anyone wishing to speak for this item only? Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against this item as we open the public hearing? Seeing and hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate it. It takes us to tab 7. As I mentioned earlier, tab 7 and 13 are being combined to allow a total of not less than 20 speakers to address the Board of Commissioners under our tab 7. The police officer will proceed with lining up the first 5 speakers, and we will begin.
Galt Porter, Arthur Vaughn, Sean Finley, Dr. Craig, and Craig Morgan.
Please. I believe it's Dr. Cruz. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners.
If I could, excuse me, okay, I want to remind everybody we'd like to have your name and your address, please, and whether or not you represent yourself or some other organization. Thank you.
Once again, I'm Galt Porter, 976 Academy Court in Cobb County, and I'm representing myself. Last night at the town hall meeting that Commissioner Cooper had, I mentioned I was excited at the prospect of the Braves coming to Cobb, but only if it's a win-win situation, and brought up some concerns. I want to thank County Attorney Dance and Finance Director Pearson for reaching out to me today to address some of these concerns. And I've been assured that those can be covered in a definitive agreement, and that, you know, from all the limited information I still have, wish I had more, but it's still limited, I think this does appear to be a win-win. I realize you have far more information than I do about it, so I'm just going to ask you to vote the confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Arthur Vaughn. I'm at 454 Windsor Drive in Marietta. I am here representing myself. Initially, I was taking a very passive approach to the Braves coming to Cobb. However, in the last week or so, a lot of the disrespectful and negative discourse on this topic prompted me to not only come out tonight, but also to speak on behalf of myself. First, I'd like to say that I'm in support of the Braves coming to Cobb County, and hope that you all vote unanimously in favor of that effort. There's been several conversations that I've participated in where people have a sense that the Braves coming to Cobb would divert funds from other uses. Two that I've heard the most of are public safety and public education. I honestly hope that we can educate the public on how that is not so. How the funds used for capital expenditures are not available for the use in operating expenditures. And they, in fact, the Braves coming to town could increase the amount of sales tax revenue and property tax revenue that then could be used for operating expenditures and to support things like public safety and public education, because those are the topics that I've had the most dialogue about with anyone. And I wanted to be clear with everyone that I do support public education and public safety. Currently, I actually serve as the PTA president for Marietta Middle School. And I wouldn't do that unless I was completely in favor of public education within our city and our county. Again, I'd like to end there and ask that the commission unanimously vote in support of the Braves coming to Cobb. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Sean Finley. I live at 2326 Millstead Circle in Marietta, Georgia. I'd like to thank the chairman, the board for allowing me to speak. I also am a Cobb County resident, and I'm actually from Cobb County, Hickory Hills Elementary, Marietta Junior High, Keatron High School, and I'm also a professional attendant in the Galleria 200 building, so I've been in the Lead Improvement District. And I'm just going to tell you quite honestly, I can't remember when I was so excited about a potential opportunity. I work in technology, and I work around a lot of data, and one of the things I know has been brought up recently is the data that would potentially be pulled 30 days from now, 60 days from now around this opportunity. One thing I do know about working with a lot of data is that despite having that data, a lot of things don't change in terms of how that data is interpreted and looked at. And so my focus is on value creation. It's on value creation from the very beginning. That's what I try to do with my customers. And when I think about Cobb County, and what I know about Cobb County and the efficiencies of Cobb County, and bond rating of Cobb County, being partnered in a private-public partnership with the Braves organization, who since 1991 has provided value for all of us who are fans, lifelong fans, I can't think of anything more valuable. And I know there's a lot of talk about the building of a stadium, the tax dollars, but I look at it more as an investment in a potential economic engine. So I encourage the board to vote this memo of understanding through and welcome the Braves to the Cobb community. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Brian E. Crew, pastor of Destiny Metropolitan Worship Church. I live at 3964 Lower Roswell Road, but I pastor at 1775 Water Place. So I represent myself and a congregation of about 5,000 people. I want to just say first and foremost, I am ecstatic that the Braves are considering coming to Cobb County. I pastor a growing contingency of people, many of whom, 68%, drive from north of 1775 Water Place to come. I pastor Republicans who aren't happy when Democrats are in office. I pastor Democrats who aren't happy when Republicans are in office. I even pastor a couple of Tea Party backers who aren't happy about a lot of stuff. But I will say this. With regards to the Braves and the potential of an economic infusion that could happen, with our church being about a 5-minute drive from the proposed site, it gives me great pleasure to know that we have a group of people who can not only serve in that capacity, but there would be revenue streams that would flow, and also represent people who live in South Cobb, who are concerned about the potential of, as the tide rises, that perhaps the folks in their communities would not rise with that tide. I represent them as well, and my prayer is that as this opportunity unfolds, that all the boats would rise on this economic tide. I am wholeheartedly in favor of the Braves coming, and I hope that you would vote this Saturday.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Greg Morgan. I am a Cobb County resident, District 2, located at 3347 Ricky Lane, Marietta, 30068. I'm here to represent myself, my business, and the Cobb Chamber of Commerce. As a business person, I am a partner in Malden and Jenkins, which is a public accounting firm located in 200 Galleria building, which is also in District 2, and part of the business located in the Cumberland CID. We strongly support the Braves relocation to Cobb. I'm also privileged, and more importantly, privileged to serve as a 2013 chairman of the Cobb Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, our 2,700 business members, 7,500 individuals, and more than 50,000 employees, we do not want to delay in the vote, and we strongly encourage you to vote yes and bring the Braves to the Cobb County and the prosperity that will follow it. Thank you.
Michael Paris, Joe Kramer, and John Loud.
Yeah, Mr. Mathis, I believe is
Mr.
first.
Mathis.
Dan
Mathis, come on.
Didn't follow directions very
Commissioners, my name is Ben Mathis. I'm a resident of 310 Oakhurst Lane in Marietta. I've lived in Cobb for nearly 30 years. I've lived in the city of Marietta for over 20 years. I'm here as a taxpayer and a resident of the county. I'll also be the incoming chair of the Chamber of Commerce, which until recent times was a good thing. I'm managing partner of a law firm with about 100 employees in the 100 building at Galleria. I'm sorry to read some of these comments because as someone who makes his living as a lawyer billing by the hour, trying to be concise and speak with brevity is hard for me. But for tonight only, I'm going to ignore my Georgia heritage and speak fast like a Yankee, not a New York Yankee. I speak tonight strongly in favor of this proposal. The reality is I think you know, is that our county has faced some significant economic challenges that have threatened our prosperity the last few years. A game changer like this will have a tremendous impact and just a positive, unbelievably positive impact on our community for years to come. Some 5 years ago, I joined a group of business leaders who were concerned over some of the economic trends in our county. Many of our neighborhoods were showing their age. The fact is, other areas of Atlanta were attracting businesses that once came to Cobb, and some may not have noticed, for this used to be an area where you saw cranes everywhere. And there hasn't been a major new office building, high-rise building in our area in over almost 10 years. Thanks to the hard work of many, including the commissioners in this podium, a foundation has been laid for our future success. Mason had talked about what the CIDs have done, and they've been a key part. Braves wanting to move here validate those efforts. I think and hope the commissioners will not turn back. We're ready to have the Atlanta Braves here in Cobb County. I also want to squarely address concerns over the public-private relationship. For most of us, it's not just a theoretical, philosophical issue. It's the size, scope, and return on investment. As much as we love our corporate headquarters that Mason and Ted talked about, they don't attract millions of people to come to visit. They don't cause young people to want to move here to experience the atmosphere, restaurants, and entertainment. This is exactly the kind of development that should be a public-private partnership because we all benefit from it. We're talking about millions of dollars of additional revenue, both to the county and also to our school systems, and both of them actually. When you look at the actual numbers and the bang we get for the buck, I was thinking of that guy on the radio not long ago. He used to talk that this is the biggest no-brainer in the history of the world. and I really believe it. Ironically, many of those who are opposed to this project, and this is sort of a personal thing, they share my personal philosophical approach and political affiliation. A number of my friends, I had somebody accost me at the town hall the other day and said I was now part of the establishment. I wanted to tell them that I'm also the guy that was with Sam Owens who fought that little thing, that healthcare law you heard something about, that I took on one of the largest institutions in this county a couple of years ago, and that I've been.
Mr. Mathis, your time is up.
I just want to say one thing. I share their concern about government, but this is not a quarrel with our government. This is a quarrel with Washington and elsewhere. Our government is prudent, conservative. I urge you to pass this memorandum.
Thank you, sir.
My name's Kevin Daniels, and I'm a resident of District 3 at 4367 South Landing Trail here in Marietta. And I've just got to say that I've been very disappointed in the veil of secrecy and the rush and acceleration to approval of this deal. You know, as far as I know, in my 50 years of being a resident of Cobb County, and I've kept up with current events ever since I've been able to read or watch Channel 5, Channel 2, or Channel 11 that are covering this meeting tonight. And I've just, you know, and it's disappointing to me not to you as individuals, but it's just not characteristic of the government I've grown accustomed to having here in Cobb County that I grew up with, and that we've had here since I've lived here as an adult. You know, I've been a full-time continuous resident of Cobb County for almost, since my parents moved here when I was about a year old, for the same reasons that my wife and I chose to live here and raise our family as well. Primary reasons are excellent churches here in Cobb County, the high quality of the schools, you can get a nice house for a reasonable price, our neighborhoods are safe, our taxes are relatively low, we have a clean environment, and we have a responsible government. Or I thought we did, and until now, though, like I said, these actions have been, you know, highly uncharacteristic about what's happened in the past. Now, as far as the MOU itself, there are a couple of things that are particularly disturbing to me there. Number one, yeah, the cash flows that are listed in Appendix A are not substantiated by a reference to any economic impact study that may have been performed. It hasn't been made available. I asked about it at the town hall last night. No reference to it was provided to me. And as a result, you know, of the analysis that I perform, my conclusion is that that the net result to the taxpayer will be highly negative due to all the road improvements and intersection improvements that have to be performed at the county's expense in the area surrounding the state. Also, an environmental impact study has not been performed as well. There's a tributary to the Chattahoochee River that is in that region that, you know, the location of the stadium, construction of the stadium will obviously have an impact on that. So, and also priorities are an issue. Teachers, police, fire department, other unclassified employees of the county have gone several years without raises and also having to take mandatory days off. So for all the reasons I've listed, I recommend that the commission delay the vote and respond to the community's request for additional information, specifically with regards to how the stadium will be financed and paid for, and the impact on the individual taxpayer. Thank you very much.
You're doing a great job. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Michael Paris. I live at 150 East Blackwood Court in District 2 in East Cobb. I am a lifelong resident of Cobb County, born in Kennisville Hospital. Before there was air conditioning, is what my mother says is wrong with me, but you know, we'll just have to live with that. I'm also president and CEO of the Council of Quality Growth. We're a regional organization representing quality development, promoting the mission of quality development and growth throughout the region. But I'm here to tell you, I'm in support of this proposal tonight. I'm proud of Cobb, I'm proud of the Braves, and I'm proud that the Braves have chosen Cobb. But I'm especially proud for our region. I'm proud that the Braves have chosen to create a truly regionally significant work, live, play environment in the model of what we aspire to in providing a new, walkable opportunity for recreation, for living, and for working for people of all ages. And beyond that, the economic benefit for our entire region, as well as Cobb County, is it's significant, it is long-term, and it is sustainable. I urge you to vote yes tonight and to place this vote in history as the #1 economic generator for our region for years to come.
Good evening, Mr. Commissioner and Mr. Chairman and Commissioner. My name is Joy Kramer. I live at 116 Kenning Hall Court in District 2 in Smyrna. And I'm here tonight on behalf of myself as a business owner in Cobb County, and as well representing Common Cause, an organization dedicated to holding power accountable and for transparency in government. This process has not been transparent whatsoever. And as I look around tonight, I see a lot of signs for welcoming the Braves, and I too would also like to welcome the Braves. But as a holder of a real estate broker's license for over 30 years, and I know the president of the Council for Quality Growth also has a real estate license, the first thing that you do after location is to make sure you do your due diligence. There has been no significant environmental impact study. There has been no significant transportation study. There has been opaque at best on the revenues that the stadium is going to produce. So I ask you tonight, as stewards of our money, our taxpayer money, to please postpone this vote. The Braves aren't going anywhere. They're not going to sneak off into the night and go to Gwinnett. We need to look at this more closely. We need to find out what the impact of this decision is tonight. And go Braves.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity tonight. Honored and delighted that we're standing in Cobb County today to have this discussion. Now, my remarks were going to be different, but following this request for a delay, I couldn't emphasize enough that a delay is not the right answer.
Okay, can we delay long enough for your name and address?
My name is John Ladd. I'm president of Ladd Security Systems. I own a property down in South Cobb, and I'm from the great city of Kennesaw, Georgia. Here to speak on behalf of many businesses that I represent, working with Cobb Home Controls Organization, as well as Ladd Security, my employees, and certainly my family. Been a resident of Cobb County for 18 years. Back to, I would not be in favor of a delay. I think that we've got some lessons that we've learned from some folks just south of us. We've got a commissioner here tonight, Commissioner Pitts from Fulton County, that is just waiting to watch us stumble. We've got city council members in the city of Atlanta that would love to watch us miss this golden opportunity. I think that you guys as courageous leaders have put our county in a position to be able to seize this moment, to seize this opportunity. When we're talking about transportation initiatives, with over $1 billion in transportation initiatives already in line. It's not about saying we've got an opportunity now. I think when the Braves had that opportunity to discuss with those other entities, and things wouldn't work out for, what, almost 2 years? And now you guys have us as a county position to be able to open that discussion, seize this moment, and I encourage us to get a 5-0 vote and bring the Atlanta Braves to Cobb County. On the main area that I want to come up and talk with is on education. From the education perspective, I look at 60 acres of land right now, there are a bunch of trees. There's no commerce going on in that area. I realize that some of the taxes that go to the 19+ mills that go to education sums up to about approximately $141,000. With this opportunity coming before us, we're now going to be able to turn that acreage into approximately $3 million+ that are going to go to the school systems at no investment does the school system have to bring to this table. And when you realize the mixed-use development that's going to happen in that area, how many students do we really think are going to be in that area? I don't know, probably 0? I don't know, maybe 5. So the infrastructure cost to the education system of Cobb County, I think, is relatively 0. When you add in the SPOS revenue at the 1% sales tax, I think we're looking at something greater than $4.5 million, which we all realize will grow and grow and grow throughout the years. So when we look at a way to be able to help the education system and get the teacher the raises that were discussed earlier, I think that we've got this opportunity right before us. And again, I encourage a 5-0 vote, a full unanimous will give economic development opportunity as people have never heard of Cobb County in years past. Now when they start thinking about Georgia and they start thinking about Cobb, they've heard of the Atlanta Braves, they've heard of Cobb County, and I think unanimous vote sends a strong message to those other corporations that are looking to consider Cobb County, Georgia. Thank you.
Phil Lanzacone, Jim Cheek, G.B. Osborne, Janet Peters, and Patricia Hay.
Phil, if you give up his time.
Sir?
Phil gave up his time, so I'm going to move on to his spot. My name is Jim Cheek. I live at 1247 Rich Lane in Kennesaw, and I'm glad to see that you're considering a new home for the Braves and a place where it's safe to go to a ball game at night. I have a little story for you. I'm from a little town in Missouri, and when I was a young man, Kansas City had a field just like the Braves downtown, and they decided that they'd make a big move. They moved out on the interstate. They built a new baseball stadium. They built a new football stadium. They said the traffic problem was going to be too big to handle, but it wasn't. 2-3 years by the time they built the stadium, they had the highways built. Everything's ready to go, just like Cobb County can do right here. And it was good to go to a ball game in the middle of the day, in the middle of the night. You didn't have to worry about getting mud or your car broke in. And I'm retired, and I have several neighbors that's retired that would really be happy to see the stadium built up here where it would be safe for us to go and enjoy a ball game at night. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Mr. Commissioner and members of the community. My name is G.B. Osborne. Up to this very moment, I reside here on East Cobb Apartments on 575 Dale Road. My current mailing address is Box 251, Smyrna, Georgia, 30081. I'm here representing the conscience of the community and the state of Georgia. I ran for the mayor of Atlanta in 1996 on the platform of regional cooperation and transportation issues. Also in 2004. Although I paid a lot for that price for running, but that's fine. I'm still here with you. Braves does not belong to Cobb County or Fulton County. Braves belongs to Georgia and the people of Georgia. And I want for you all to open your mind because you're about to go into where you've not been before. I hear about the spirit of cooperation and partnership, but to what extent have you really implemented that very spirit of cooperation and partnership? That's the question each and every one of you would have to ask yourself when you take your 5-minute break, 10-minute break out there. The spirit of cooperation or collaboration and partnership is the spirit that Cobb County must use, and also, by the way, praise you too, if you're going to come into Cobb County, in making sure that the entire region actually benefits from this. We have people in Bartow County and Paulding County. You all extended your hands of collaboration and partnership with the chairmanship of Bartow County and for Paulding County to see what they can do about making this deal happen. Instead of putting this saddle on the taxpayers and also on yourselves because of the sweet appetites of Braves.
Now, the mayor of Atlanta, what is his name, Mr. Kasim Reed, wants to tell Cobb County what to do. But Cobb County don't like to be told what to do. So if we're gonna go the route of transportation, we have to do it better than Atlanta, better than Fulton County, but greater for the state of Georgia. The question is how? This is how. We will construct an underground rail system from Cobb, on Cobb Parkway from Cumberland Mall all the way to Cartersville, Battle County. That should be part of the special stipulations that needs to be stipulated and attached as an addendum and or a rider to the agreement or to the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding. Anything short of making sure that there's a true spirit of collaboration and partnership with Battle County and Paulding County, with a research plan and feasibility costs and estimates for constructing an underground rail system from Cumberland Mall all the way to Cartersville,
Mr. Osmond, your time is
will not be to your best interest. Thanks, Ms. Kennedy. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Thank you very much for your time. My name is Janet Peters. I'm on Rockridge Road in Commissioner Burrell's district. I am not a businessman. I am not representing any other organization but myself. When this announcement was made, I was originally very ecstatic over the Braves. I'm not a baseball fan, but everybody else is. I want to thank the commissioners for setting up some local town hall meetings in the last few days in order for us to express our pros and cons on this particular development. There are still several things that disturb me about this project. I have brought it up several times in previous meetings that parking and transportation, I feel, is a major, major problem. And I don't think I have received answers to my satisfaction as somebody who just rides around Cobb County to get in and out of my home. I have asked about parking, and I said that, and I believe I was told that they are going to overcome this with leases for parking in the area. Are those leases signed? Before we can go into it, there's 8,000 parking spots that have to be accommodated. Also, I was told that if traffic gets bad, you can go on pay lanes to go around it. Well, that's double taxation. Public-private partnerships, I don't know if I, as a taxpayer, am fond of it. If it's such a big deal, why isn't it being paid for by the private funds? Why does the public have to get involved with it? If it's such a good risk, private business should be happy about investing in something that's a good deal. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I'm not used to speaking in front of people. I don't know if entertainment purposes is the reason for a taxpayer to risk their money. We have very large here in Cobb County, and I still feel that there are other locations perhaps in Cobb County that would be better suited for this kind of development that would bring depressed areas more revenue. Six Flags comes to mind. It's right off of 285. 75 and 285 is such a critical commuting intersection. If anybody wants to go south, east, or west from Cobb County, they have to go I-75 and go through that intersection. And I don't know if ample studies have been done to address that issue. I'm going to only ask that you please consider postponing it so that this development can be further evaluated, answers can be given, and it can be better to the satisfaction of several taxpayers in this area. Haste is waste, my mother always told me. And
Ms. Peters, your time has expired. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been very quick, only since the 11th of November to the 26th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
name is Patricia Hay, and I'm representing myself. I live at 5469 King Lane, and I'm District 4, and I'm kind of trying to speak for the Cobb County taxpayers, everybody that lives in Cobb County. This deal is happening too fast. It's been 2 weeks, and we've spent 2 years discussing whether we could have chickens in the backyards. And we're spending millions of dollars on this deal, Cobb County taxpayer dollars, and we're going to take 2 weeks and ram it through. Reminds me of Obamacare and how they did that, and how at first we knew nothing, and he said it was a wonderful deal. Everything was wonderful, and now we're finding out it's not so wonderful. I also want to say about the funding. It's taxation without representation, because you're going to take our SPLOST dollars in 2017 and not allow us to vote on whether we want them to continue. So that's taxation without representation. And I just want to register, I don't want you to take all your time, I just want to register my opposition to our tax dollars going to the funding of a private stadium and the maintenance of a private stadium. And I'd like to understand the figures. I keep hearing 8.7, 8.9, or 24 million. And I also would like to know how you're going to fund this, considering you had to take $92,000 out of the general fund to fund the bond payments on the Cobb Energy Center. How are we going to fund this, really? And you say there's benefits. You say there's all these benefits, but they're projected. We don't know for sure that we'll get all these benefits from it, but we do know we're going to be paying for it. And that's why I'm speaking up.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Deborah Waller, Susan Stanton, Kim Menefee, Carrie Taylor, and Shane Garrison. Deborah Wallace first.
I'm declining.
Susan Stanton. Kim Menefee.
I think Susan's doing okay.
Mr. Commissioner,
Who's the gentleman?
Commissioners, being as several people have said what I've had to say,
Okay.
and I had plenty of television time this week, last 2 weeks, I would like to defer to Oleg Ivustin of the Georgia Campaign for Liberty.
I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. Thank you. If you could speak your name and your address and make your remarks for 3 minutes, and we'll let that go forward, okay?
Okay, my name is Susan Stanton, and I would like to, I'm from Cobb County, and I would like very much to present then petitions from the Campaign for Liberty to the Commission. There are 791 petitions that state, whereas the Atlanta Braves is a privately owned Major League Baseball team franchise valued at $629 million, and whereas the Atlanta Braves have conspired with the government of Cobb County to build a new taxpayer-funded stadium in Cobb County, and whereas raising taxes on Cobb County citizens and visitors to pay for a new taxpayer-subsidized ballpark constitutes corporate welfare. Therefore, we, the citizens of Georgia, demand that no taxpayer money be used to subsidize privately owned sports franchises. And they're signed and from the Campaign for Liberty. Who should I read?
If you give him Brad, he'll make sure the clerk gets him part of the record.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
than you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to give remarks tonight. My name is Kim Menifee, and I've been a resident of Cobb County for 25 years. I live at 852 Birds Mill. I serve as the Senior Vice President of Public and Government Affairs for Wellstar Health System, but tonight I'd actually like to offer comments on behalf of Cobb's Competitive Edge. I serve as the co-chair of Cobb's Competitive Edge, and as you know, it's our first comprehensive economic development strategy. It's a public-private partnership. We have more than 25 companies involved in this initiative. And we have many programs and goals for it, but primarily this initiative was developed to create jobs. That's very important for this community, to develop a stronger sense of community, as well as market it more on a global level. In addition, we want to make sure that we can continue to recruit and retain top talent and bring them to Cobb County and to be able to continue to grow. So we strongly support bringing the Atlanta Braves to Cobb. We hope that tonight that you will vote this MOU through and welcome the Atlanta Braves. Thank you.
Excuse me. My name is Terry Taylor, 209 Kenning Hall Lane in Smyrna. I'd like to thank the Commissioner, the Chairman and the Commissioners for the opportunity to speak. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a resident, as a business owner, and as a member of Common Cause Georgia. We're calling on Cobb County officials to hold a public referendum on the county's involvement in stadium financing to allow Cobb citizens to have a voice. Common Cause Georgia does not oppose the stadium. We do not oppose the Braves moving to Cobb County, or even Cobb County using public funds for the stadium. What we're opposed to is having such a substantial amount of money being spent without significant public input. We take this position for three reasons. One is it's a very rushed process. It's 12 days. That is not enough time for citizens to get their arms around it. Quite frankly, it would be very difficult to be a commissioner who wasn't even aware of this to get their arms around it, become an expert in public stadium financing in the space of 12 days. That is a very chilling prospect. Second, the entire process continues to be opaque. For most of the 12 days, it was a 550-word summary that existed. That's what citizens had to look at. For an advertised price of $300 million, that comes out to $550,000 per word. We can do better for our money if there had been a lot more disclosure. And as far as disclosure, usually we hear single numbers, but that's not the way economic analyses and financial projections go. And that's what citizens are asking. There's an optimistic case. There's a middle-of-the-road case. There's a downside. What happens if things don't turn out well? Not only at some endpoint, but year to year. What are the pressures on cash flows if something goes awry, something gets delayed, there's a bump? It almost always happens. So it's not just a number where 5,527 people would be hired at a certain time. It's looking at those different scenarios. There's no business person in the room that doesn't do that. I'm also surprised that we haven't heard from the Atlanta Braves. Now, maybe they weren't supposed to be at this commission hearing that I was at, but quite frankly, we're going into a marriage. There are our partners, and I would actually personally like to meet my marriage partner before I go to bed. The scope and scale of this project demands that there be public participation. It's the size of a SPLOST. It has a specific purpose in mind, like a SPLOST. We would vote on a SPLOST. Why not this one? Funds are going to be reallocated. I understand that. What do citizens want them to be reallocated to? The answer is, or would they prefer to have their taxes lowered? What's the answer to that? Don't know. They haven't been asked. Finally, again, I reiterate, as Common Cause Georgia, I as an individual am not opposed to this, not opposed to the Braves, the stadium, or the public financing.
Thank you, sir.
We are opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Shane Garrison.
live at 5601 Black Iron Trail, Powder Springs, Georgia. I'm also a small business owner in District 4. We have about 173 employees in that district. I can tell you that they're all very excited about the prospect of the Atlanta Braves coming to Cobb County. As a business owner, I felt that, and a resident, I felt that it was important that I read the MOU, and that I also attend some of the town hall meetings. Thank you for having those. I attended my commissioner's meeting, Commissioner Bourne, and I also attended last night Commissioner Cupid's meeting. I'll tell you that I can tell from both of these ladies from attending your town hall meetings that this is a decision that you're not taking lightly, that you did your homework. Specifically last night, Commissioner Cupid spoke from her heart, and I know that she is in conflict